I believe that dialogue is the key to breaking through our tendency to separate and isolate. Dialogue changes isolation and loneliness into connection and interdependence. This, I believe, is the essence of Buddhism. Compassion is the key in Islam and Buddhism and Judaism and Christianity. They are profoundly similar. Open-minded people tend to be interested in Buddhism because Buddha urged people to investigate things. He didn't just command them to believe. Buddhism has in it no idea of there being a moral law laid down by some kind of cosmic lawgiver. Buddhism teaches us not to try to run away from suffering. You have to confront suffering. You have to look deeply into the nature of suffering in order to recognize its cause, the making of the suffering. I was raised Catholic, but then I discovered Buddhism, and I used to have a boyfriend who was a Scientologist, and they are all good religions that help people. As far as I'm concerned, you can have all three religions at once and it's okay. In Buddhism, you have to believe in yourself. You don't believe something external guides your life. You do it yourself. Many spiritual teachers, in Buddhism, in Islam, have talked about first-hand experience of the world as an important part of the path to wisdom, to enlightenment. Mindfulness is so powerful that the fact that it comes out of Buddhism is irrelevant. I've been practicing Buddhism for a while. So, I call myself a Jew Buletin, because my tribe is still Jew. But my philosophy and my practice is really Buddhist. There's something uniquely interesting about Buddhism and mathematics, particularly about quantum physics, and where they meet. That has fascinated us for a long time. Whether you call it Buddhism or another religion, self-discipline, that's important. Self-discipline with awareness of consequences. I did study religion for a little while. I studied the Torah and the Holy Quran, Helios Biblos, which is considered by most people to be the Holy Bible. I just wanted to know, even with Buddhism and the Dalai Lama. The first of the Four Noble Truths of Buddhism, that there is suffering in life, was enormously important to me. No one had ever said it out loud. That had been my experience, of course, but no one had ever talked about it. I didn't know what to do with all the fear and emotions within, and here was the Buddha saying this truth right out loud. Whereas a lot of Buddhism concerns itself with stages of enlightenment, various precepts and moral codes, and even power structures and hierarchies. Zen is just like, shut up, sit down, and observe your thoughts. Oh, and by the way, what you perceive as you doesn't actually exist. I loved the minimalist approach of it. Many scientists have been drawn to Buddhism out of a sense that the Western tradition has delivered an impoverished conception of basic, human sanity. In the West, if you speak to yourself out loud all day long, you are considered crazy. But speaking to yourself silently, thinking incessantly, is considered perfectly normal. Buddhism maintains that the common reaction of the human mind to pleasure and to achievement is not satisfaction, it's craving for more. Buddhism has helped me understand my defects and has given me the tools to combat them. There are many Christians who practice Buddhism, and they become better and better Christians all the time. I think the reason Buddhism and Western psychology are so compatible is that Western psychology helps to identify the stories and the patterns in our personal lives. But what Buddhist awareness training does is it actually allows the person to develop skills to stay in what's going on. I realize that many elements of the Buddhist teaching can be found in Christianity, Judaism, Islam. I think if Buddhism can help, it is the concrete methods of practice. The reason Buddhism can be so naturalist is because, stripped of its supernatural elements, its core teachings can be giving a sound, secular philosophical interpretation. In other words, it becomes a religion acceptable to the contemporary, naturalistic mind only when it ceases to be a religion. Scientology, Buddhism, the Kabbalah, if it makes people's lives better and easier, then I'll do it. Why not? People scoffed at Christianity 2,000 years ago, didn't they?